This video is the first of a series about places in Australia and their social history, or occasions and celebrations that are typically Australian. The focus will be on the social environment. This first video is about Mornington, a popular bay suburb on the Mornington Peninsula, about 44 miles or 70 kilometres southwest of Melbourne City. Besides displaying Mornington as a vibrant modern resort town, I show where the great explorer Matthew Flinders came ashore in Port Phillip Bay in 1802. Flinders was the first European to walk along the shores of the bay and the first to take survey readings from Snapper Point. We are in Main Street, Mornington, on a bright summer's day at the end of January 2022. The street is rightly named because it has been Mornington's main street since the settlement was recognised as a town in the early 1850s, when buzzing with commercial and agricultural business. Today it buzzes with holidaymakers and tourists from around the country and the world. As you can see, everywhere are eating and drinking venues of one sort or another. There are just as many clothes shops. But Mornington was not always called Mornington, and this requires some historical explanation. The first Europeans to enter Port Phillip were Lieutenant Murray and the Lady Nelson in February 1802, and the great explorer Matthew Flinders in the Investigator in April the same year. Murray did not do too much exploring, but Flinders did. From the Investigator's anchorage at Sorrento near the mouth of Port Phillip Bay, Flinders came with a small group of men up the east coast, admiring the sandy beaches at the base of rugged ridges and cliffs. That's Mornington Park, which we will come back to. He stopped with his surveying equipment at this point here where you see the pier. That point became known as Snapper Point. Besides taking his readings, he had time to view two of Mornington's most popular beaches, Shire Hall Beach and Mother's Beach. A town grew from the boating activity around Snapper Point with its deep water. A jetty was built in 1858 providing a ferry connection with Melbourne. So Mornington was actually called Snapper Point until the early 1860s, when its name was changed to Mornington in honour of the second Earl of Mornington, who had been British Foreign Secretary. It became the economic and social centre of the Mornington Peninsula. Mother's Beach was so named because its shallow water for quite away from the shore made it safe for children. we walk along this side of the point, we see the varied boating and fishing activity available for visitors. One can hire a sailboat or a boat for fishing. There are group charters available for the more adventurous, or one can simply spend the day fishing from the pier. There's a popular, highly rated restaurant for those who want to spend a lazy summer's afternoon dreamingly looking over the water and its activities. There's also a kiosk where one can enjoy a serving of fish and chips at outside tables, a must on a visit to an Australian beach. There has been a jetty or a pier here on Snapper Point since 1858. The present one is several years old, built at great cost. It's a year-long attraction for those who enjoy a lazy stroll, particularly on a Sunday afternoon. As we stand here on the pier and survey the shoreline, we can try to imagine what Matthew Flinders saw and felt as the first European to tread the shoreline of Port Phillip Bay and view the rugged ridges and sandy beaches. As we walk up the other side of Snapper Point, we see Mornington Yacht Club's storage area, and beyond that Mother's Beach and Shire Hall Beach. From here we have a view of Mount Martha Headland and around the corner Royal Beach. But Matthew Flinders did not land first at Snapper Point, but further down the bay. That's where we will go now. We are 2 miles down the bay on the walking track on the ridge above the water. Here's a marker indicating where Matthew Flinders first came ashore on one of the bay's sandy beaches. The second of the shoals we see here from above marks where he came ashore. It is called Bird Rock. We will take the stairs down to Bird Rock Beach. We have a good view of the Mount Martha headland that Flinders passed, Bird Rock Beach and the Bird Rock Shoal through the tree branches. We see clearly where Flinders and his men beached their boat, as well as the view they had of the sandy shore with its ridges. We have Flinders' own account of the landing in April 1802 after setting off in a rigged boat from Arthur's Seat. He wrote, "At a mile or more from the shore, at 4 fathoms depth, I passed the second rocky point above Arthur's Seat. The second rocky point was the Mount Martha headland." Flinders continues, "The wind being at northwest, I was obliged to land behind some rocks, the Bird Rock Shoal, more than 2 miles short of the third point, Snapper Point, but walked to it with my surveying instruments. This was 9 miles from the sea, the furthest part of the shore seen from thence. Further on, the shore falls back more eastward in long sandy beaches and afterwards curves to the northwest. After taking angles and observing for the latitude and longitude, I rowed to windward for Indented Head, 5 leagues off across the bay. It was along such sandy beaches that Flinders made his way to Snapper Point. We have walked up the other side of Snapper Point and entered Mornington Park. In 1863, land was allocated on the cliff top overlooking Snapper Point for public use. Part of that land became the park you see here. Mornington Park has become a popular spot for picnics, family cricket, kicking around a football, a casual stroll and celebrations of all sorts. We have now entered the final phase of our tour of Mornington's natural surroundings. It is a route that people use for constitutional walks and jogging. We start at the end of Mother's Beach, walk along Shire Hall Beach and then follow the track over Mornington's Foreshore Reserve, take in the scene from 2 lookouts and end up at Tanty Creek and Mills Beach. We will end by viewing Snapper Point from Ballura Lookout. This is a popular spot for walkers to stop and contemplate Snapper Point. This is also a popular spot to stop and contemplate the bay waters. I stop here each time I take this walk. From this spot we can survey Mills Beach and Tanty Estuary. Often Mills Beach is busy with small sailing boats and preparations for sail racing. I hope you enjoyed this tour of Mornington's natural surroundings. If so, please give me a like and subscribe for future videos.